Merry Christmas, happy holidays, how's it going? It's Thursday night, I'm home, I made it here, I was out of town all day, phone was turned off, it was magnanimous, it was fantastic. Enjoyed it, got together with a team of people and we had a great chat today and got home, I made chili early this morning before I left, I had to go all the way down to Tip City today. And made some chili before I left, so when I got home, dinner was ready. It was just a wonderful day. So I do have bad news though. Something very unfortunate happened just a short while ago. And my cairn brush broke, my cairn cleaner. I was cleaning my Glencairn glass and broke it. But you know, there's good news that's attached to this because it means I get to bring out my new one. I got a new one and it has this little zippy thing. Oh, I don't know if you're supposed to keep it in this or not, but now look at the condition between the new one and the old one. It kind of says a lot about a young man and a, never mind, I'm not going there. Okay, so get to do that. I'm going to unveil today's drink. I kind of already did a little bit, but the honest to God truth is I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had bought a couple different bottles. Hey, Tom, how are you, man? I bought a couple of bottles, and I went back to the liquor store tonight to find one that I just finished and really enjoyed when I last finished it, and it was this one, the Uncle Nearest 1884. I finished this one last night, and in my last swallow of the bottle, I thought, gosh, that's good. So they didn't have this. They haven't seen it for about a month at the liquor store I go to normally. And the other one was closed. The power was out. I guess a car had run over a power pole or something like that, and power to that side of town has been out all day. So I wasn't able to get any more of this, but I will. I'm not worried. But today, we're doing the Rabbit Hole. This is the Dareringer. Now, I looked to make sure I was pronouncing that right, because you don't know if it's that or Dareringer. It's Dareringer. I looked that up and I found out that that is exactly how it's pronounced, so I'm not getting anything wrong. This is a product of Rabbit Hole Distillery, although it's unknown specifically if this come out of their own distillery, if it's somewhere else. What do we got here? Aaron's with us. Hey, Aaron, how are you, sir? The scuttlebutt behind this one. Well, first of all, this is an unusual mash bill, and we'll get to that here shortly. What's not unusual necessarily is bourbon being aged in sherry casks, or port casks, or port sherry casks, or wine casks, or Cabernet. All this is going on all over the place. The Caribbean rum casks, it's everywhere. What stands out about Rabbit Hole and what they do is specifically the amount of I guess, celebration that this particular bottle has. The Spanish sherry casks that it's aged in, let's get this open, are made by a grape, the Pedro Jimenez grape. And the Pedro Jimenez grape is said to be very sweet, one of the world's sweetest grapes. So, we're gonna test that theory, and my Glencairn that I cleaned and broke my brush on is over there. So we're gonna do it out of this one, which is my rocks glass, and I forgot my rocks. So we're just gonna do it without any I got some water. We'll do water, but other than that, I'm not gonna do anything special to it. There were no cocktails on the Rabbit Hole site, so I'm guessing they don't think it's meant to be in cocktails. Now I haven't had any Rabbit Hole in a long time. It's probably been 2 years since I've had Rabbit Hole. So I'm looking forward to this. Now this is supposed to be a potion of love. As the story goes, the founder of Rabbit Hole, Cave Zemanian, I think I said that right, Zemanian, met Heather, and Heather was a native of Louisville. Now Cave was a Scotch drinker, and he particularly liked Scotch that was infused with sherry casks. Well, Heather, which, by the way, is one of my favorite names for women, just is, always has been. I just love that name. It's so soft and sexy, and maybe it's Heather Locklear's fault. I don't know. But anyway, so he fell in love with Heather. Heather was from Louisville. He was actually a psychologist, a clinical psychologist, and a psychoanalyst. That was his profession. And this bourbon-loving Louisville girl talked him into getting into the distillery business, and he created Rabbit Hole. And they've got 7 different bottles under the Rabbit Hole name, and then they've got a couple of other bottles that they do as well. So it's kind of a cool story behind the whole thing. So these barrels are toasted before they're charred, and it's supposed to be a level 4 char. So this might be pretty spicy. It might have a lot of oak to it. We'll find out here in a minute. It's not chill filtered. So like Michter's and other bourbons that you may be familiar with, it's not chill filtered. So this may have a different mouthfeel than I'm used to with a lot of it. Dan says, last time I had Rabbit Hole rye, I used it in a mixer of my eggnog to get rid of it. However, I'm excited for this one at some point. Hey, Zach, how are you, man? I think one of the things that kept me from buying this is of all the Rabbit Hole labels, this is one of the most expensive. This is an $80 bottle. And the last time I spent big money on a bottle like that, it was Oak and Eden. And no. But I've heard so much good about this. I hadn't heard really anything about Oak and Eden, the bourbon Inspire that I had. Anyway, so this I'm excited to try. I'm just gonna let it air out a little bit. Let's see. So the mash bill on this again is a little unusual. It is 68% corn, 18% wheat, and 14% malted barley. So this is a wheater. Not all Rabbit Holes are wheaters. They've got rye and they've got other things. They've got some that are predominant, a lot of barley in it. This one actually is pretty high on a barley content. A lot of times you only have like a 4% barley content. This is 14. And then of course the wheat, 68% corn. So I've been reading that this is supposed to be particularly sweet. We'll find out about that here shortly. Let's see. So a lot of people online were talking about the fact that there's no age statement on here. However, I found out through watching different things that this is supposed to have a 5.5 to 7 year age. So this is actually of the Rabbit Hole line. This is one of their oldest bourbons that they have in their line. It's aged in the sherry cask for about 6 months. And that's almost proprietary information. I just stumbled upon it, but that comes straight from the horse's mouth from Rabbit Hole. So, mystery solved. Let's see here. They are all a relatively small batch at no more than 15 barrels, but batch numbers are not provided on the bottle. So. There you have it. There's the history of Rabbit Hole. Now all we have to do is drink it. Twist my arm, right? Okay. This seems like it's going to be a really nice one for a cold winter night. It's not cold. It's like still 50s outside and windy as all hell. But we're going to pretend it's cold. Brr. Here we go. Okay, the nose is not really heavy on the ethanol. It's actually nicely balanced. I am getting the oak, definite fruit notes. Maybe a little raisin. Cherry for sure. Maybe even a hint of strawberry, to be honest with you. It does have a dark, like a date as well. That's a raisin, but there's still raisin, but I'm gonna say there's a date note to it, and that oak is coming out. So I'm hoping it's as good as everybody on the internet says it is. If it's overly oaky, it'll scare me a little bit. Lots of fruit, yeah, lots of fruit. Aaron, you're right about that. Absolutely, lots of fruit. I mean, you could even pick out black raspberry from this, although it's a more of a mild note, but it's there. Plum. I mean, it's very winish, which makes sense. I mean, it comes from a Spanish sherry cask, and it's a wine grape, sweet wine grape. So it's either going to be ick or it's going to be great. We'll find out right now. All right. Ooh. That's got a lot more going for it than its 93 proof reveals. That ethanol and flavor, nicely balanced. Really nice balance. Of course, the first thing I got was the bloom. The bloom is the burn. It starts in your tongue and grows. Sometimes it grows front to back. Sometimes it grows from the middle out. This time it started right on the tip of my tongue. Quinn, how are you, sir? Started right on the tip of my tongue and just bloomed everywhere. It's got a bite to it, but let's give it that second sip. Now that's cool. Even though the first sip had some bite to it, that ethanol bite to it, which it was nicely balanced with the flavors. The second sip, there was almost none of that bite. So my palate acquainted itself to this particular bottle very, very quickly, which is nice because then I was able to get out those flavors. And I am catching a lot of that reddish, darkish fruit. Plum, blackberry. We got people talking. Jake is watching. Hey, Jake, how are you? Hey, Quinn. Captain Casey, you got that right. That's been my handle. I was in radio a long time ago, and I called myself the Captain. And then I changed it to Captain Casey, and then that's just been my handle on Reddit and Instagram and a bunch of places. So, so I'm glad you recognize that, Quinn. That was nice of you. Thank you. That's funny. And it was a suggestion. By the way, this is a cool little fact. I told you I love the name Heather. It was a suggestion by a friend of mine whose name was Heather, like way back when I started in radio a long, long time ago, that I call myself the Captain. True story. See how everything just comes together? It's all full circle. Full circle, I tell you. Aaron's talking. Grapes, grapefruit. I'm not getting grapefruit. I can tell you grapes, red grapes probably. Plum, yes. Cherry, yes. Mild burn, yes. The darker, the blackberries, the cherries, the plums, I will agree with you. Let me see what else here. Even some of the bourbon notes are staying there. I'm getting a little caramel in there. That oak is definitely coming through. I am not getting the deep dark fruits. I'm not getting the raisins on the palate. I'm not getting the dates on the palate. They were there on the nose. They're not on the palate. At least not to me. And I'm still getting, this is kind of fun. I'm still getting strawberry on the finish. It's a very light strawberry on the finish, but that's one that's holding out. And interestingly, again, some of those bourbon notes are still coming through. I'm getting a little honey on the finish as well. So it's definitely a sweeter bourbon, but it's not the type of sweet that you think of when you think of a sweet wine. Sweet wines, they are almost face puckering. Sometimes they can be so sweet. This isn't like that. It has a sweetness to it, but it's not so overly sweet. And part of that's probably because of the wheated mash bill. Wheated mash bills tend to be a little bit sweeter than the rye mash bills. Aaron's talking. Thinking about grapefruit as you drink and tell me you don't. Okay, all right. I'll think about grapefruit as I swallow this next one, and then I'm going to put it on water, and maybe I'll get it. I have not got any citrus in this at all, Aaron. So that's the fun thing about this is your palate is going to be doing one thing. My palate's going to be doing something else. Sometimes we can find notes and spout them out and agree with each other. Sometimes I can just say, no, I'm sorry, I don't taste that. Some people were talking about candy notes and marshmallow notes on this one. Quinn is saying, any idea? Yes, it's finished, Quinn, for 6 months. They say an average of about 6 months in the sherry casks. Although there's no age statement on the bottle, and a lot of the reviewers have no idea how long this particular one sat in regular bourbon, the white oak. It's sitting in a level 4 char after being toasted for 20 minutes, then charred. And it sits in there for 5.5 to 7 years, and then it's transferred to the sherry casks for about 6 months. And this is one of their oldest bourbons. This is one of the bourbons that is aged the longest of all of them in their line. So that could give a little bit of a reason why it tends to be a little more smooth, a little more mellow. The sweetness of that level 4 char coming out, as well as definitely the sweetest grapes on earth, the Pedro Jimenez grape, which is the type of sherry this is in. So Dan says, sounds like it would be great with dessert. Hey, Michael, how are you? Great to have you with us. Do I think it would be good with dessert? I do. If you like wine, and you like red wine, because again, this isn't sweet like a white wine. I will tell you this though, if I had to give this a wine equivalent, and I know wine relatively well, but if I had to give this a wine, and I haven't had it in a while, but if I had to give this a wine equivalent, Dan, I would tell you that Pinot Noir would probably be the closest thing, because it's not so dry that it loses its sweetness, but it's not so sweet that it loses its dryness. There's a really nice mesh between the dry and the acidity and the sweetness and all the different things that make this up. Aaron says, good with a smoked cheesecake. I could agree with that. That would probably be nice, especially if there's cherries on a cheesecake. Even a black cherry, that would be nice on that cheesecake. Yeah, if you were going to drink a Pinot Noir, I would say that this is like a high-test Pinot Noir, if I had to give a great description about how I feel about this bottle. It's very good. It's very different. Angel's Envy is in port casks, and there's other, Legent is in, I don't know, something else. It's, I think, a port cask of some sort, port wine, something, wine cask of some sort. This is different than those two. This is just completely different. It's a lot more wine-like than Legent, and a lot more wine-like than Angel's Envy. Yet it's not so wine-like that you can't enjoy it as a bourbon. I do like this, and I think that this, for an $80 bottle, was money well spent. And I'm a little ashamed that I waited so long to purchase this one after all the good things I'd heard about it. I like the complexity and the fact that it has such great, nice wine notes, but it also has really nice bourbon notes with the caramels and the honey, that oak, which you get in wine as well. But let's do a little water test. I didn't bring any ice over because they don't have any cocktails on the website, so I figure they don't do the ice thing. They don't do the cocktail thing. So we're not doing ice tonight, but we are going to add just a little bit of water to it. I don't always add much water. I gave myself quite a pour that time. This is another one of those that I cannot see me finishing this bottle quickly. It took me quite a while to finish this bottle of 1884 that I was telling you about. I really like this bottle a lot. I've had this one in the 1856, and this one by far is the one I like a lot better. And it got sweeter and smoother over time after being opened. It's just a delicious, delicious drink. And this is the one I was looking for when I saw this one tonight. I had no idea what I was going to drink before I got started, and I just kind of went with it. By the way, Aaron, who is commenting here, he is the master at smoked cheesecake. Oh my gosh. That's what you can get me for Christmas. We did the tree a few days ago, had dinner, kids over doing the tree. I got a tree on the front porch, but the wind kept knocking it over, so I gave up. Maybe I didn't add enough water, but I'm not seeing that it's making really any of a difference. Let's give it another squirt. It took a little bit of the heat out of it, but again, it was a very small squirt and quite a bit of, I poured a little bit more than I wanted to that time. So we'll just give it a good spin here. All right. You know, it's funny, Uncle Nearest, I keep coming back to this, but this ended up being a part of the conversation today. I went out of town for a summit with some of my creative partners, and we were talking about things that we want to do. And one of the things I want to do is I want to make beautiful bourbon bigger. I want to do some things. And they were kind of looking at me and going, is there an audience for that? I'm like, and I started talking about some of the things that I've learned about doing these, from these distilleries, doing this Bourbcast. And Uncle Nearest was one of them that I talked about. Great story. Fantastic story. If you missed that story, go back and watch the Uncle Nearest one a few months ago. All right. My son is off watching the new Spider-Man movie tonight without me. He says he's going with his friends. Dal, we always see our movies together. Doggone it. I took him to see Ghostbusters. That was really good. It was a really fun movie. I enjoyed that a lot. All right. Okay, here we go. At first I was ready to shrug that off because it seemed like just a lower proof version of what I've been having. And essentially it is. But something came out of that wasn't there before. I got a toffee note. Could be a one-off. I'm going to do it again here in just a second. But with water on it, I caught a toffee note that I didn't catch before. So again, bringing back some of the elements of the bourbon and the white oak barrel at a number 4 char after being toasted for 20 minutes first. I do have a lot of respect for that process. Toasting the barrel and then charring it. It just seasons that wood that much more. And the other thing I like about this is it's in there for 5.5 to 7 years. There's no stupid gimmicks attached to this. Nowadays, there's been a lot of gimmicks. I mean, like, you know, the one from Cleveland, the Cleveland Black, where they chop up the barrel and store it in a vat with the barrel and hope that ages it faster. It doesn't. It just makes it taste like crap. And then that Oak and Eden with the spire, it's only aged X amount of time, and then they put that smoked spire down in there. No gimmicks. This blackened. You know, they pump it with hard rock music from the band Metallica and think that the vibration of the music in the barrel makes the bourbon seep into the barrel more. Whatever. I mean, it's okay. I like blackened enough, but I didn't love it. I think if they just let it sit in the barrel for as long as it needs to sit in the barrel, they'll probably get more out of it than if they, pumped it with Metallica music, which I love Metallica music. It's not that. It just seems like a gimmick, and it's a good gimmick, and the bottle design is really cool. It's a sound wave on the bottle. It's cool. But I think this is a superior drink, and I think one of the reasons it is because they let it sit there for 5.5 to 7 years. It's good. This is good. I think water brought out some of the aroma of chocolate. Yeah, I agree with that. Let me do that again. I'm still not going to follow you on the grapefruit, but I'm going to agree with you on the chocolate note. That wasn't there before. I think you and I are probably experiencing the same thing. I'm getting kind of a toffee. You said chocolate. I get it. Let's just say it's a Heath bar. Okay? I'm getting a Heath bar. It's really good. I can recommend this one. I can recommend the Dareringer, the Rabbit Hole Dareringer. It's a little more of an expensive bottle, but I tell you, it's one that you're going to want for the holidays. You can share this with the people that come over. I would say particularly your mother-in-law, if she's talkative, give her a couple of these and it'll put her right out. 93 proof. You weren't with me, I think, all of you last week. My mom was here for Thanksgiving, and I got her stone cold drunk. It was so funny. I gave her a taste of the Knob Creek smoked maple, which she really liked. And she had a glass of wine. And then she had a Kahlua. I think she had one other thing. Oh, she had a sip of the 1884, and I had to almost carry her up the stairs. She turned 82, and she doesn't drink very much, and she doesn't have the tolerance. I had forgotten how low her tolerance was. I won't do that to her again. Now I know how much she can handle. A couple of drinks, and that's all she's going to get. It was really funny. So I can tell you that this is a really good barrel bottle. I like this pour. It's not one that I'm going to have like every night. There's some that they're so unique and so interesting that you want to save them for some reason to have them. And this is probably one that I'm going to put in that category. I don't know that this is I'm going to celebrate it with something special type of category, but it is something that, Dan, you touched on it, a really nice dessert. Maybe something to have on Christmas Eve if the snow falls, which it's not supposed to this year, which is fine by me. But just one of those that if you're in the mood for wine, but you don't want wine, this might be a nice alternative for you. So that's where we are. Where are we at on time here? Okay, so we're almost at a half hour. That's pretty good. It's a good time for us to wrap it up. I don't want to take too much of your time on a Thursday night. For those of you who had a chance to drink this with me, thank you for doing it. And those of you who didn't drink but did watch, I appreciate that too. We've got photographs, not of this yet, but I will do it, on Instagram at Beautiful Bourbon. Of course, you're here on Facebook. We have a blog, beautifulbourbon.com. We're starting to get some of these videos put over on YouTube. That's not really the crux of it. Facebook is where most of it is, so you're not going to miss anything if you stay here. Do share this with others. If you had a good time watching it and you learned something or just, enjoyed it, I'd appreciate it if you told people about it. Hit the share button, something like that. That'd be super cool. In the meantime, I will be here next Thursday. We're going to get closer and closer to Christmas, but we will be here next Thursday with a new bottle. I don't know what I want to try yet. I've got so much downstairs. I shouldn't have even bought this, but I'm glad I did. And I think you will be too. If you buy this, you'll be happy you did. So, hey, enjoy the next week. Don't work too hard. Enjoy your weekend. It's supposed to Saturday is supposed to be a lot like today was. It's a real shame. But Sunday's supposed to be nice. So keep that in mind. It's going to be colder though. So there's that. But hey, we will see you again next Thursday. Again, I appreciate this, that you're watching like you couldn't believe. So thank you for watching, and we will see you again next week.